At last. Okay, there we go. Thank goodness. Hi there. My apologies for the delay, everyone. It seems that with 10 minutes to go, at 10 minutes of 8, of course, I looked at my laptop and suddenly it decided that a Windows update was taking place. Oh, joy. So all we could do was wait for it to finish, but it looks like we're all set. So about 10 minutes late, but nonetheless, here they are. So here we are. So welcome once again, everybody, to Cast Iron Wednesday. This, of course, is a long-running, several years now worth of long-running tradition on many YouTube cooking channels of doing a cast iron video on Wednesday, in which we talk about our beloved cast iron cookware, whether it's cooking in cast iron or cleaning or collecting or identifying cast iron. Basically, cast iron has become really, really popular over the last decade or so, to the point where, again, Cast Iron Wednesday has become quite a thing here on YouTube. And that includes my channel here, where I've been doing these live videos every Wednesday for the last more than 2 years now, surprisingly enough. And I can only thank everybody who has been kind enough to show up here each week and kind enough to wait for things like this Windows update to finish and other fun things like that. Um, we are here once again, though, in YouTube Live, and thank you very much. And hello to everybody. Hello to K Clock and Val's Black Cats Rules, Dean Reedy, Mike M. Hello, Granny Graham. Haven't seen. I don't think I saw you. No, I think you were here last week. My apologies. And Turner Fowler, Wyoming Yeti, and hello, Papa Dan and John Agan, and quite a few people. And I'm thanking everybody very much because, well, tonight, of course, is the night, once again, of the winter solstice, the longest night of the year. And what a year it's been, too. So, fortunately, this is pretty much where just that, where things start to turn around. As of tomorrow, the days will slowly become longer again. Thank goodness. But even so, yeah, course, as you know, the winter solstice has been a night of celebration for a lot of people in many cultures. And of course, we've got the holidays here, and Christmas is only 4 days from now. So, oh man, hard to believe. I just got my presents out in the mail today. So, quite frankly, everything is all set on my end. And of course, the other big news, as if I have to say, is this huge storm of the century that we're supposed to be getting over the next couple of days or so. This winter blast that's going to look like that movie, The Day After Tomorrow. So, well, fortunately, I'm ready for that too, as well. I went out and did some last minute shopping for emergency supplies, important stuff, cat treats, cat food, nuts and raisins for baking, the essential stuff. So, but I am all set so that even if I'm housebound for the next 3 or 4 days, I have plenty of things to do. I can do cooking and make videos, which is kind of what my hope is. And I'm having buffering issues. Turner Fowler, says I'm having buffering issues. Anybody else? Are you having problems with the live tonight? Because again, I got a notice from one person that we have that there's buffering. No, okay. All right then. Okay. Sorry to say, Turner Fowler. Regrettably, I'm afraid the problem must be on your end, and I apologize. But okay, enough talking. Let's get down to it. As mentioned already, we are doing some celebrating the solstice, and that's one reason why I'm putting together a dish that a lot of people have for the solstice. It's like it has a harvest meaning to it, and that's why it's not just chili. We're doing tonight, which of course is appropriate because we've got because we've got this cold weather coming up. But this is a pumpkin chili, in fact, made from made it's well, of course, with pumpkins. I had really wanted to get Okay, let me back up a little bit. The idea actually came from some friends I visited last night, and they had made pumpkin chili, and I thought that would be a great idea to do tonight. They took a white pumpkin and roasted it and used it in their chili, and I thought that would be wonderful to have a white pumpkin to symbolize the moon, the longest night of the year. But no, pumpkins are out of season now, so we're going to have to go for the traditional stuff. But that's okay. And one more thing we get down before we get down to some cooking. Well, two more things. One is that, especially with the holidays here coming up, this means that for a lot of folks, it's time to break out the special cast iron as opposed to the daily cast iron, and that's why I am proud to have here a good old Erie, no less, number 8. This is a Griswold made before they actually started putting the Griswold logo on their pans. And I think this is the first time I've had the chance to use this Erie on this gas stove. In fact, you can even see where the flames have already affected the seasoning. So, but yes, this is a number 8 Erie, which dates to about the year 1905. And rather than just keep on talking, let's put it to put it to use and start off with one of the essential steps of making chili. Let's do some ground beef. There we go. I mentioned there is another thing that as well tonight, and that is, of course, I also mentioned this in the description of the video. I am interested in folks hearing about cast iron cooking for the holidays because, again, we've got the big holiday coming up this weekend. Whether it's Christmas or we're in the middle of Hanukkah, or some folks even celebrate Yule or a whole bunch of other holidays that all take place around this time of year. And that's why I will gladly say happy holidays because no, it's not some kind of a stupid war on Christmas. I mean, it really covers everything. I will say right now, Merry Christmas to everybody and happy holidays as well because, of course, what part of Holy Day should people be offended by? And that's all I'm going to say about that silly subject, the one that a lot of people use every year in order to get attention for themselves. Meanwhile, as I said, we've got cooking coming up this weekend. And in addition, with the storm coming up, I'm sure folks are probably getting their provisions ready too, so that you won't have to leave the house for a couple of days. So I'm sure we've got some I'm sure we have some nice meals in the planning. And oh yeah, this this Erie number 8 here. I have had this actually. This was oh man, I got this in 2011. So this is not quite 12 years old, but 11 and a half years old. In fact, I can even date it to April of 2011. That was in the earliest days of my cast iron addiction when it was really just starting to come on strong. And in fact, I believe it was my first real antiquing expedition to the wilds of mid state New York, where I happen to live now. And I still remember coming across a couple of nice cast iron pans. In fact, if I remember right, I paid $10 for this Erie. So that was one reason why I certainly got it. That plus the fact that it was my very first Griswold. So yes, and I've been happy to use this, and obviously because it's in Erie, I've made a point of using it on special occasions. If you, yeah, I know. I was shocked as anyone. So naturally, that's the type of thing you just have to grab and do not let go. Especially since this is a little warped. There is no denying that. The heat ring helps it to sit flat on a tabletop, which is good. But if I'm not too careful, it can actually spin right here on on the stovetop burner. So, nonetheless, I'm so anyway, I've got my Festivus poll ready. Oh yeah, I dare say a lot of us have a lot of grievances to air as well, but not here, please. And Kwanzaa, no, and Kwanzaa I don't like, and I'm not going to get into that one. On the other hand, again, there are so many other holidays this year. I even had one friend who basically calls it secular retail holiday, and she has a point about that too. Because yeah, okay. Well, no, let's start with the subject I mentioned a moment ago. Cast iron cooking for the holidays. I'm sure a lot of folks have something special that they do in cast iron on the holidays. Whether it's you have a special pan you can bring out, like maybe a relative's or a deceased relative's pan, like your grandma's or great grandma's cast iron skillet, or more likely, a lot of people have special dishes that they make at this time of year, besides the usual Christmas turkey, which is great, or even a pernil, a roasted pork shoulder, for instance. Or again, it's Hanukkah as well, and maybe you may be making traditional Hanukkah dishes, latkes, and your own brisket, and all kinds of fun things like that. Mm. Yeah, holidays, again, it's really a good excuse to do some great cooking. So, Turner Fowler, I hope everyone is stocked up on food and other necessities. Yeah, I know that's what we mentioned. So, I myself am all set so that I can buckle down for a couple of days. I've got plenty of cat food for the cats. So, oh, and we also have an electric blanket. So the cats will be warm. I mean, that's of course, that's definitely a big concern, but we're going to do just fine here. Here in mid-state New York, in fact, it's going to be bad, but we're going to kind of luck out, sort of. Our forecast, the way they're talking about it, is tomorrow, Thursday, starting at around noon, we are going to get like a couple of inches of snow. Then it's going to warm up, strangely enough, and the temperature is actually going to rise into the 40s, maybe even almost 50 on Friday. And we're going to have a fair amount of rain. So that's probably going to wash away a fair amount of the snow. But then, and this I know they've been talking about in the news, that we're going to have a very sudden and drastic chill, meaning that it's going to drop down from the 40s to the single digits by tomorrow evening. And that means, of course, all of that rain is going to freeze up into ice. And then apparently we're going to have more snow falling on top of that. So it's going to be snow on top of ice for us. Yeah, definitely a reason not to go out for any reason at all that I can think of. So we are going to be buckled in. We're going to be hunched down and just keeping warm and keeping safe. And I hope everybody else does too. John Sir 5, gumbo is my favorite tradition to make at Christmas. Oh, please tell us more. How do you make your gumbo? And do you have a gumbo pot? And Joseph Ortiz, what happened? Hey, well, yeah, okay, I won't say more to that. Gumbo sounds great. Toss me up a salad and pass around the French bread. And likewise, yeah, we will have, yeah, Val's Black Cat Phones. This side, that side of New York gets a ton of ice. Yeah, I'm going to have to experience it for myself, definitely. We're doing pozole, pork hominy stew this year. Well, that all sounds good. And I do believe this is browned rather nicely. So that means it's time to make us some chili. Where is it? Okay, let's do one other thing before I put this in the pot. And let's throw in some onions, shall we? Yeah. I don't know. I always use the fake Cajun accent and pronounce it onions. After this, it's going to go into a bigger pot because the rest of it's going to be pretty easy here. But here is our ground beef and onions, and into this, let me quickly dig out eh, some minced garlic. Yeah, I know. Folks who always ground their own garlic, and I do a lot of that myself as well. They wince at minced garlic, but you have to admit this stuff is convenient. There's really no way to deny that. So, okay, and what else do we have here? Prime rib in my lodge number 12. Oh, that sounds like you got yourself a real Christmas feast coming up. Definitely the best of luck for cooking that prime rib. Um, I have said before, and I am not going to dictate this to anyone. I mean, I'm sure you have your way of cooking that prime rib. I am not a fan of the classic way of making prime rib. Roast it for 500 degrees, then turn the oven off and leave it. Don't touch it and don't open the oven door for 2 hours. And for a lot of people, that works just fine. And if that's the way you do it, then go ahead and do it. But I don't trust that method. I've become a disciple of cooking by temperature. And as such, I would rather suggest with a prime rib, go and just look at a couple of videos on doing a reverse sear, like they do on the reverse sear steaks, and use that method. And you will get yourself a perfect prime rib. John Sir 5. I learned from an authentic Cajun. Start with a roux. You gotta, first you gotta make a roux and add in the Trinity, bell pepper, onion, and celery. Then lay on your protein. Welcome to New York State weather. Freezing rain and 12 plus inches of snow. Yes, indeed. Well, being a former New Englander, I miss New England in many ways. That's actually not too different from the weather we had in New England. So I can't say that I mean, it's going to be interesting, but it's not going to take me by surprise. So, yeah, one last thing. It was only just this morning I finally took up. Was it this morning? No, it was yesterday morning. I finally took the Massachusetts plates off my car and put on New York plates. So that means, like it or not, I am indeed a resident of New York. What's he making today? Well, he is making chili, and that's the first step, browning up some ground beef here. So now that we've done that, I get to put this aside for now and bring out another pot. And let's see if I should turn this off. Don't want to burn any chance of burn. Oh, good. Oh yeah, that definitely heated up all right. Wow. I while I was doing that, over on another burner over a very low heat, I brought out my chili pot, the Lodge enameled Dutch oven. And even though I had it on a very, very low heat, but I was surprised. This thing actually heated up pretty darn good. So, yeah, this again is a 7-quart Lodge Dutch oven, enameled, as you can see, because of course, chili. So, that means let's do this right. And then we will put the Erie to one side in order to rest. However, I better turn this heat back on. Come on. What's going on now? Oh, it is on. My bad. All right, there we go. Let's grasp this right. There we are. Actually, let me bring the angle up now so that you folks can see what's going on here. I mean, I would rather give you guys a good view. So we will move up a little bit. Move up in the world. Move down here. There we go. And now we can bring up the Erie and put in our beef. So there we go. And the nice thing is, all of the liquid and grease from the ground beef we'll start this out doing nicely. Boy, this thing heated up a lot faster and a lot better than I was expecting. As I said, I had this Lodge enamel Dutch oven sitting on very low heat. I did not expect it to heat up this well. Yeah, I'm still getting used to my gas stove. I guess that's about all I could say. This is a pound of ground beef. That's because the ground beef is not the star of this chili. As I mentioned, this is a pumpkin chili. So we're going to be putting in a lot of pumpkin to do this. Yeah, this is definitely. There are vegetables in that. There are beans in this chili as well. I've said before that I like chili with beans, and this is quite simply that kind of a chili. This is not a meat only chili. So That means now that we've done that, let's start throwing in stuff, shall we? Such as, what do we got here? We have, oh, you got to have some tomatoes, of course. And let's also throw in, as you said, good old Goya beans, or in this case, kidney beans. And I'm going to put the liquid, I'm going to let the liquid in as well to help flavor it. So I'm not even draining these cans. Then from here, what else do we have? Corn. I goofed. I wanted to get some regular corn. I ended up getting cream corn. Well, it'll work. I'm not too worried about it. All right. Where did my ladle go? Here it is. Okay. All right. Then to this, let's also throw in some black beans as well. Now, at this point, I'm debating whether or not I want to use garbanzo beans in addition to all of this, because got a fair amount right here and right now. In fact, we should probably stir all this up here. And meanwhile, hello, spring rubber. I also miss living in New England. Disputes seem to be limited to living in the mountains or being a flatlander, as in Rhode Island. I never lived in Rhode Island, but I did visit Rhode Island quite a few times. Also have relatives who still live in Rhode Island. So, yeah, well, even though I'll always miss Massachusetts, I mean, of course, time goes, time goes by, and so we'll just make the best with what we're doing here. So this is a start, but two things that I need to still put in. One, of course, would be, as I mentioned, this is a pumpkin stew. So that means nice big can of pumpkin. And this is probably about twice as much pumpkin as there is ground beef. But on the other hand, pumpkin is actually often used in veggie dishes as a meat substitute. So this is so that's one reason why I actually put some ground beef in to kind of like go along with the pumpkin here. But if you've never had pumpkin chili, I would definitely recommend it, because by the time this is done, uh, there may still be a pumpkin flavor to it, but it's not going to be anything like a pumpkin pie. I can promise you that. And then from here, and not going to say no, but no thanks with corn in my chili. Well, yeah, and that's the other thing, is that it's all everybody's personal preference. Oh, yes, how could I forget? Little bit more. Where did I find that knife? Here it is. A little bit more tomatoes yet. Namely, in this case, we've got some tomato paste to go along with those tomatoes that we put in. There we go. A lot of people actually use ketchup at this point. I think I mentioned before, I had a girlfriend who basically would not use ketchup in anything, and she kind of inspired me to avoid using ketchup in my cooking in most cases. In some, I've been more than happy to do so, but in general, I try not to use ketchup and instead just go more for the tomato paste, because that way I can add my own flavor. There's one. And the other, I always put corn in my chili, says Craig Werner. Are you still going to go to Brimfield from New York? I'm thinking of that, and it's not out of the question. I've actually done a fair amount of long road trips at this point. And even though it's like a 4 to 5 hour drive now to Brimfield instead of 30 minutes, it's not out of the question. I could probably still do so next year. But on the other hand, one other thing I want to do next year, if I have the opportunity, is get back to the National Cornbread Festival in Tennessee, because I haven't been there since 2018. So it's been 4 years. All right. There we go. So that takes care of all of that. Let's mix this up. And then the most important part of the chili, the spices. That is really what will make this goop into chili. But as you can see, this is indeed a mostly veggie chili here, even though there is a pound of ground beef hiding in there. And in fact, I could have easily just omitted the ground beef completely. I've had veggie chili though. Veggie chili is quite good, and I certainly don't have any complaints with it. All right. Now that it's all mixed in, as I mentioned, here comes the important part, the spices. And I made sure to double the amount of spices as well, because this is a big pot. We've got a lot of chili powder, cumin, some coriander, smoked paprika, all of the usual stuff that you put in chili, including, as I mentioned, a lot of chili powder. There is some, as well as some brown sugar in there too. But there we go. This is going to make this stuff into chili. And boy, is this thick too. In fact, I am going to, I wasn't even sure if I'd have to add any more liquid, but yeah, this is damn thick. I should definitely throw in some liquid at this point. So here's some beef broth, which means again, no, this is not a veggie chili. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is thick, all right. This thing's starting to come alive on its own. So I definitely need to dilute it a little bit. There we go. This looks like it should be enough. All right. There we go. Now, very carefully, because obviously I don't want to set this pot holder on fire. But there we go. Now it's all mixing in. At this point, I think all I'll need to do now is well, bring it to a boil, and that's probably not going to take very long. Then cover and simmer it. But hey, this is actually a nice consistency already. So yeah, as I said, all I'm going to need to do is cover and simmer it for maybe an hour or so. So I have to say, this looks good already. So I'm definitely looking forward to enjoying this when it's done. And yeah, I do have some tortilla chips, some cheese, and some sour cream to top this when it's done. So as I said, first we will bring this to the boil. And meanwhile, as I mentioned, what about some cayenne? Oh yeah, there is cayenne in there. I did not forget. There's about half a teaspoon of cayenne because you do need a little bit of heat, at least a little bit to make it a chili. How'd the gas bill issue work out? I haven't heard from them since last week. They said they were going to send somebody over at some point to reread the meter. I'm thinking that after the holiday is over, probably like Monday or so, I'll give the power company a call and ask if they've had a chance to read the meter yet, because I also have not seen any other notices in my email. Okay, just got to keep an eye on this. This thing is still pretty thick, though. It looks like it actually erupts like a volcano rather than boiling. So, like, and yeah, I just said that, and look at that. In fact, that's exactly what it's doing. It's gurgling. See these little, you can see that already. It's good, spitting up little bits of steam there. Well, I would say that probably means it's definitely hot enough. So in that case, I think I will turn the heat down and just put a lid on it. So that takes care of part one tonight. There we go. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Notice how I put the lodge cover like this. That was a trick. It took me a while to figure it out. It's like when was putting this cover right over the handles here, I'm thinking, that's pretty awkward, and it makes it hard to take off the lid. But that's how you do it, and that makes it much easier to lift the lid there. Right. And shrooms. Oh, is somebody making shrooms for Christmas? Lodge's pumpkin chili adds pumpkin style beer, whatever that is. Well, yeah, they got all kinds of flavored beers, including pumpkin flavored beer, which I've kind of shied away from because over the fall, as you know, the pumpkin spice thing really gets out of control. I have a butternut squash, says Terry Sinchef, and I could use that to make a pumpkin chili. Yes, you could. A nice squash chili. Right. This dude was in Harry Potter. I guess you're talking about me. I would be Snape. Well, actually, considering everything that turned out, I guess I would consider that a compliment. And Papa Dan, I've never heard of pumpkin and chili neither, but we live in the same general area, so that explains why we haven't. Well, yeah. I mean, I know everybody is used, of course, is used to the typical Texas style barbecue nuclear chili, and there's nothing wrong with that either. That is some great stuff, but there are many ways to make chili, and this one is just a different one here when one that I'm looking forward to trying when this is done. How do folks feel about turkey chili? I'd say go for it, especially if you have leftover turkey. That would be a great way to do it. And to have five left over a year later. Yeah, exactly. That was my feeling as well, hippie longshanks. So, okay. And again, here's a question as I said it already. How are you folks doing here for the holidays? I mean, one person mentioned making gumbo. What else are you making in your cast iron for the holidays? If you're making a turkey chili, well, that's great at least. So, hmm. Um, yeah. Oh, yeah. As far as Hogwarts goes, though, I mean, one thing that I simply cannot forgive the Harry Potter series in that the story had this big emphasis on wands. It was all about wands, and they barely gave a passing mention to cauldrons. In fact, when they went to actually buy a cauldron, you know what the shopping list said? You have to get a pewter cauldron, not a cast iron cauldron, which I thought was ridiculous. So that I'm unfortunately have to say is kind of like a point against Harry Potter for that. Uh-oh, hold on. Am I losing my connection? I'm seeing something about try restarting your something. Am I having problems? Is my reception going? I've got a message saying try restarting something, but I'm not sure what it is. I've got some kind of a pop-up here. Okay, somebody says good here. Okay, well then whatever this thing is, I guess it's not essential. And okay, then we'll just keep going. All right. Well, thank you for the patience then, for your patience. But as I said, how are we doing? John Sir 5, I recently found a large cast iron Dutch oven. I will try that for gumbo. Any details about that Dutch oven? Are there any markings on it that we might be able to help to identify it, for instance? So, buffered for a minute, but it's all good, says Honey Badger. Send mine, Debbie. Made pea soup and ham in my cast iron Dutch oven on Sunday. I'm still eating it and not complaining. And I'm not. And I wish I wouldn't. I could go for some split pea soup myself. So, but anybody else? Yeah, okay. And here's the other thing. Do you have any special pans that you use on special occasions, such as the holidays? I mean, as you saw, I broke out that Erie, especially because this is for holiday cooking. But then again, of course, that's just because my collection is well that big. I realize not everybody has a big enough cast iron collection that you can actually have special pans. Um, who is that kid washing your cast iron skillet? Oh, well, actually, if you consider him a kid, I think he would be very flattered by that, considering that he's probably at least 30 or so. But yes, they actually is my friend Anthony. And as you know, I don't use real people's real names on the internet, so that's all I'm going to say. But yes, I was visiting a couple of friends last night, and they helped me out to make that little short video I had this morning. So, and I'm glad that folks seem to have liked it. And Unmarked Wagner, oh, nice. So you've got an Unmarked Wagner Dutch oven. Well, congratulations on that. question. When I use my Dutch oven, I lose a lot of seasoning off the lid while it's dripping. And yeah, you and many, many other people. Yeah, that's the difficulty, isn't it? Condensation does regularly cause problems with cast iron lids. I don't deny that. Well, one, of course, is you could season it again. But another thing that some people have tried and apparently had some success is is smearing on a coating of, like, say, Crisco, for instance, on the lid before they start cooking. Although, of course, you have to be sure that doing that won't ruin your food. It kind of like helps with a barrier against condensation, the same way that you grease and flour your baking pan before baking in it. That's an example. So, so you're saying he looks 16? Yeah, that definitely, I'd say you're going to consider that a compliment. K Clock, I have an earthenware terracotta tagine that I use for special dishes. Ooh, tagine, yeah, from Morocco or at least from northern Africa. Well, that's a good reason. And I can only imagine what kind of dishes you make in that. The cure for rust on a Dutch oven lid is to use glass lids. Well, there is that. Yes, it is true that in some instances, it might even be better to use a different kind of lid. In some instances, not in every case, but that's also a reason why I'm using this enameled Dutch oven right here as well. So, add one bottle of Mexican beer, I'm guessing, to this chili, and I wish I had thought of that. I don't have Mexican beer, but I do have beer here. So rather than well, no, that beef broth should still do sufficient though. Terry Sinchef, I found a glass lid that fits my unmarked Wagner number 8 Dutch oven. Oh, congratulations! Well, actually, that's not too difficult either because Wagner was about as generic as you could get as far as sizes were going. And yeah, because I found a large lid works great on a Wagner skillet, for instance, and likewise, there are a lot of those glass lids. A lot of pans out there these days still make them in the same size, in that they're still fairly compatible, whether they're your cheap aluminum fry pans or even better quality ones, and of course crock pots as well. So there are actually glass lids out there that you can find and that will fit on a yeah, on a Wagner Dutch oven or a Lodge Dutch oven as well. So yeah, that is certainly something to consider. Uh-oh, another spammer. Boy, we seem to be getting these every night, every week, don't we? Okay, goodbye, spammer. Put user in timeout. There. Oh, that was easy. Wow, I wish I'd known that before. Okay, sorry about the spam, folks. 300 seconds? Why does it only say 300 seconds? Okay, in that case, I'm going to have to find a way to completely hide user on this channel. Okay, I guess that'll do. There we go. Okay, this user's messages will be hidden. There we go. I found that a well-seasoned lid won't rust. It does take some time to get a well-seasoned cast iron pan, including a lid. You can't deny that. So, but yes, you could. Once you get to that point, well, then that's cause for celebration. I am making milk chocolate cake in what's that say? Pai Mai. This is my first cast iron skillet. It was made in China. That is my special skillet. And hey, that sounds great. It was your first cast iron skillet, and I know that makes it something special. My first cast iron skillet was and is a modern day lodge. So even though I have this eerie, I mean, I'm still very proud of using my original lodge skillet. You can time out or hide 300 temps. Yeah, well, that's exactly what I did. I've hidden that user. So if and when that spammer shows up again, you won't see him. Speaking of which, that also reminds me there's one other thing I wanted to do tonight while we're here. Where is that? Oh, yeah, it's in the fridge. Okay, good. And this little thing involves booze. So let's pull this over here and let's quickly get this rum out of the fridge. And then we will bring out the star of the show here. Boy, it's nice having this. Even though I'm leaning into the fridge, you folks can still hear me talking. Okay, let's turn the view over here for a moment. Come on, there we go. Okay, oh, don't want to this cord here. All right, let's do this right. And here it is. And this is probably the last time I'm going to do this before Christmas. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. Oops. Let me. Something popped up on my screen. There we go. And here it is. Remember the fruitcake? Well, it's still here in the fridge, and here it is. Oh man, I could smell it as soon as I as soon as I take this cover off. So yeah, I've been busy aging this fruitcake as best as I can. So for perhaps the last time, we're just going to add a little bit more. Look at this bottle of rum. You can see how much rum um, is left here. It's only about this much, which means now it's time to feed the cake just a little bit more. I'm telling you, when this thing is unveiled on Christmas, it's definitely, like it or not, going to be an adults only cake. There we go. It's soaking through the cheesecloth for the most part, so that again, this is definitely going to be a rum flavored fruitcake. There we go. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. Why is the rum? Yeah, why is the rum always empty? Yeah, you can ask Captain Jack Sparrow. Can ask that. Yeah, Captain Jack Sparrow. Why is the rum gone? Okay. I got every one of my kids and spouses plus the grandson a piece of cast iron for Christmas. Oh yeah, definitely, no question about that. Um, yeah, in fact, if you've gotten to the point where your relatives insist no more cast iron for Christmas because you've already given them more cast iron than they'll ever need, you might have cast ironitis. Well, gee, it looks like I may have to do a video of that in some way. And well, we've got the time coming up for it in the next couple of days. But nonetheless, there we are. That is or was the fruitcake that we made at the beginning of the month, which I have had sitting in the fridge, ripening, and I've been feeding it alcohol or rum, rather. Well, rum is alcohol for the last 3 weeks at least. And yeah, so this is going to be an interesting cake come Christmas. And boy, in a way, it's a good thing that we're all going to be housebound on Christmas. So there's no possibility that we're going to drive after eating this cake. That's for sure. Kate Clark, my sister is my grandma's cast iron pan. I love to visit and have things cooked in it. Cast iron gifts. Okay. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, Cynthia Wesley. I was banned off cast iron gifts, but now I got a wish list of cast iron. Officer, you've been drinking? No, no. Yeah, no, officer. Just fruitcake. Oh well, that's a ticket right in itself. Yeah. And what's the charge? Fruitcake. Okay, let me quickly put this back in the fridge. Oh, there we go. And then from here, okay, that's pulled down a little bit. Let's give this a better view again of the stove here, including the Erie skillet here. Let's get another look here at this Erie. It's cooled off to the point where I can lift it with my hands at least. And yeah, this time as I mentioned, I was really glad to score this one. Griswold folks have been able to accurately date this to about 2 years or so, which means they say it's probably between 1905 and 1907. And they're able to identify things like because of the way it has these quote marks on the top. Good grief. I could comment about being anal, but no, actually, that's really just being nerdy, and that's what makes this hobby one thing that makes this hobby a lot of fun. Oh, by the way, there's a pit. There's this little pit or divot here in the bottom of the pan, and it was like that when I got the pan. But that thing does not extend all the way through the pan, so it is simply harmless. As such, I simply call it character. It adds character to the pan. It has a number 8 size, as you can see, as well as a model 704J. And this is nice and light too. It's a very thin, very light, and it definitely has what they call the glass smooth surface that you know cast iron for. And Debbie, my wife thought I was crazy giving our 20-year-old grandson a skillet. My feeling is that it's a sugar skull and he'll get his mama to cook for him in his skillet. Well, there's a start. You might you might actually inspire him to try cooking for himself because that's not a bad thing. I'm a proud dad. I had to get my 15-year-old daughter a cast iron mini rack from Lodge for Christmas. She caught cast ironitis when she got the Harry Potter Le Creuset. Wow, this summer from her dad. Well, definitely that's going to be something to treasure because yeah, you remember those Star Wars enameled cast iron that Le Creuset came out with a couple of years ago, that including that amazing Dutch oven that actually has Han Solo frozen in carbonite on the top. Well, yeah, you better believe that thing is going for astronomical prices on eBay now. I'm seeing it selling it regularly over $1,000, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's you can find it on eBay for $2,000. Sheesh. Hmm. And make sure you get at least a photo of your fruitcake on Christmas. Well, I definitely intend on unveiling it on video. I'm not sure if I'll do it live or maybe just simply film it. But either way, I do indeed want to share this fruitcake with all you folks. Did you buy that earring new? Why, yes, I'm actually 150 years old, so yes, I bought that earring when it was manufactured. You have to wonder how many meals and people fed from that earring. Yeah, that is one of the great things about cast iron, especially vintage cast iron. I mean, modern day cast iron is wonderful. Lodge uh, is great to cook with. So are the newer and more expensive cast iron pans from Finex and Butter Pats and uh, Stargazer and Field and all those companies. And yet at the same time, and oh yeah, I made eggnog the other night, Val. In fact, but yeah, there's really just something special about the history and the mystery of cooking in a vintage piece of cast iron. There's just so much history to it, and that really gives it its own feel. I mean, yeah, almost could call it a type of magic. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any other way to describe that feeling. As you say, just knowing that you're cooking in a piece of history here. And that's one reason why I love even those gate marked cast iron pans, which they were meant as disposable throwaway items. They were just, and even Birmingham Stove and Range, the former employees of Birmingham Stove and Range who are still alive today and taking part on the internet, they've said before they were just frying pans. Nobody considered them to be special in any way, and yet here they are. They've all gotten this incredible. Yeah, as I mentioned, there's been this great cast iron comeback over the past decade or so, where companies like Birmingham Stove and Range have been rediscovered, and of course, the well-known companies like Griswold, needless to say, have become astronomically priced. Honey Badger, my daughter couldn't believe what her Quidditch Dutch oven is worth, but the one casserole dish and pie owl is her prize and joy. Pride and joy. Uh, oh, Cowboy Kent made eggnog. My papa would call out to Granny, "Why fix me a cup of Joe, please." And she would come in with his coffee. Okay, eggnog, bourbon or rum? Bourbon and nutmeg here. I am more of a brandy type of person, or rum actually. I mean, although rum is not as cheap as it used to be as well, but I like rum. Although I say that when I drink maybe on the average of once or twice per year. I'm trying to remember the last time I had a drink. I think I actually did have a drink maybe sometime in the last month, and I barely remember it at all. Not because I got drunk, but just because I had a drink for the first time in who knows how long. But nonetheless, I do like a rum and coke, for instance. I mean, it's simple and generic and not very exciting, but what can I say? I like it. On the other hand, I'm also looking forward to trying this rum laden fruitcake. Turner Fowler, I love to cook with rum. I'm sure you even put it in the food once in a while. Chris, that's one way to get coast to coast. Is it easy for you to find cast iron there? Oh, do we have someone here from like Europe, I guess? From my understanding is that cast iron is nearly impossible to find in Europe. And the reason why, of course, is that World War I and World War II, it devastated Europe's manufacturing industry, and more importantly, just about all of the old, supposedly scrap iron, especially things like cast iron cookware. They were nearly all recycled for the war effort there. It happened here in the United States too, but far much more so in Europe. Val's Black Cats. I'm enjoying some bourbon directly. I'm mixing Fresca and Beam while I wrap presents. Well, that certainly makes the experience much more exciting. I certainly can't deny that. But yes, um, liquor and alcohol, as Homer Simpson once gave a toast to alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. I've never been much of a drinker, but even so, I do enjoy, maybe a small sip once in a while. But I really do enjoy cooking with wine, for instance. I mean, it really does a great adding to just about any dish that you put it in. And I've also made beer crust pizza several times, and that is actually something you folks, all of you should try one time or another. I mean, homemade pizza crust is easy to make, but really, if you try using beer instead of water, you're going to you'll see the results will be amazing, and it's going to add some good flavor to it too. Papa Dan, my coverage isn't good. Had rebooted 3 times. I'm very sorry. So I'm sorry about that, Papa Dan. Is it maybe the storm is starting to affect the internet out there? I certainly hope not. Yes, exactly. Merry Christmas, Papa. Good night, Papa Dan. Hubby's got diabetes, so we keep the alcohol to a minimum, and I can't blame you at all for that. Okay. Anyway, I'm sure there are still folks here who can tell us more about the cast iron pans that they use around this year as well. Well, I mean, even if it's not, I mean, even if we don't have something that we only bring out on special occasions, I mean, any cast iron pan is special. I mean, we had one person here in this chat tonight. She mentioned her very first cast iron skillet is made in China, and it's still very special to her, and I definitely say, great, you can keep on using it. So sometimes you just want to get a drink and a lump on the head. Oh yeah, we wrap pipes and getting ready. Oh, I see. Wrap pipes getting ready for the cold. Oh, like it. Yeah. So far, I've had, yeah, here in my new home. The cold hasn't really affected things down here. Even when the temperature dropped to about 20 degrees, I went downstairs into the basement, and it did not seem ice cold. Well, I am going to have to check on that. I was thinking we should check on that chili. Hey, that's not a bad idea. Okay, let's do that, shall we? See what it looks like at this point. Um, Careful. There we go. I'd say it's looking pretty nice right now. Get this out of the way. Oh, it definitely smells like chili, though. I mean, there's no question about that. Those spices have definitely done their job. And yeah, I do have to be sure that nothing, yeah, that we don't get a coating of burned, burned residue at the bottom. I can feel the rough part on the bottom here, but as I stir it around, I'm not seeing any burned residue. All I'm seeing are, black beans. But this looks like a pretty good chili, if you ask me. I mean, it's really, especially since we browned the since we browned the ground beef in advance, and the rest of these are just cooked, vegetables from cans. I'm betting this could be. I wouldn't be surprised if we could probably eat this at any time, quite frankly. Because we didn't really have to cook this from scratch, since, as I mentioned, we already browned the ground beef. So, in fact, having said that, I think I will just quickly sample a little bit and watch as it erupts like lava. Mm, mm. Oh, mm. I would have to say we could probably serve this at any time at this point. I would probably even call this done, and that sure didn't take long at all. So far, so good. Hmm. Same here, honey badger. The cold hasn't bothered you because you just used oh yeah, $3,000 worth of gas to combat it. Shh, don't tell them that. I'm doing my best to not have to pay a $3,000 gas bill. Oof. But yeah, the way this thing is erupting like a volcano, I mean, it's certainly thick stuff. On the other hand, I think it's got a nice consistency to it. It's definitely not dried out, and I can definitely taste the spices in it. In fact, I'll probably just turn off the heat at this point. You know, because I would indeed say that we likely have ourselves some chili here. That actually did not take long at all, and there is more than enough chili here to help keep everybody warm for the next few days when it gets really cold. So, when I say everybody, that would mean myself, cats, and anybody who's kind enough to drop by. So there we go. We got some pre-Christmas chili. I'd say this is off to a nice start here. In fact, if you don't mind, let me get out my phone here because, of course, I've got to take a couple of photos. I mean, money shot is essential these days. But we are indeed doing very well here, and the lighting looks good too. So this is, yeah, I'm actually liking this. 2 years in a row without electricity, the coldest in years. Ouch, my condolences for that. I have a large biscuit pan I could break out for Christmas. It wasn't factory season and it has 782 on the bottom. I'm regrettably not a lodge expert, I'm sorry to say. And in addition, some of their pans Lodge produced for decades and barely changed the design on them. So that does make it kind of hard to identify, especially if they used a simple typeset font for, or did they even print their name on it? As you know, Lodge made a lot of unmarked stuff for the longest period of time. If it has the Lodge egg logo on it, that can definitely mean it's within the past 20 years. But otherwise, 30 years actually. But otherwise, I'm afraid I would have to recommend going to the Lodge Facebook groups, for instance, for Lodge collectors who would probably do a much better job identifying a Lodge pan, I'm sorry to say. I know Birmingham Stove and Range, and even though I use a lot of Lodge, I'm not that very good at dating Lodge, regrettably. If I wasn't 18 hours away, yeah, there's plenty here. So yeah, come on by. Okay, we were without both times over a week. People died around here from it. Oh, my condolences for that. So yeah, we definitely have to be careful here. Even though I'm just talking casually, I mean, really, we've got. I mean, it's going to be serious weather here because of the ice and the snow, and especially the severe cold that's going to come in. I mean, we've got the temperature that's going to drop about 40 to 50 degrees in the course of a few hours. That is serious stuff. So I can only say to everybody, yes, definitely, please keep careful, keep warm, everybody. Make sure you are well insulated and bundled up, and keep on cooking. You can make stuff like chili, for instance. Okay, let's see. Hey, there we go. I guess that's how you can tell the chili's done. All right. And having said that, it's time now to break out a dish because I can't wait. I mean, how could you wait for something that's thick enough where you can stand up your ladle in it? Okay, let's do this. Actually, before I do this, I should open up the condiments. And here it is. Got some cheese, have some sour cream, and some tortilla chips. So, yeah. Now, this is definitely going to keep me warm tonight and likely warm for the next few days as well. So, as I said, yeah, but you folks, please do take care of yourselves too. I mean, you know, cook something warm, and again, make sure that you are all well prepared for the cold. Finally, here we go. Even though it's Wally World brand, I made sure to get the hint of lime tortilla chips because I figured that should go good with this. And now comes the fun part. Throw in. Okay, this. Oh, yeah. I am liking this a lot. And one more. This is not a big scoop, but it's big enough. So we will get that down here. Now, let's put on a dollop sour cream. Lop. Come on. There you go. Mm. Love sour cream. Then to that, we will toss on some cheese. A little bit more cheese because there's no such thing as too much cheese. And finally, garnish with a couple of tortilla chips. And there we go. All right. So far, so good. And so here is our winter solstice special pumpkin chili. Look up any recipe. There are several recipes online for pumpkin chili, and see whether you may want to give it a try. I mean, yes, it is a mostly veggie chili. You could even make a completely veggie chili out of it. But if you do throw in meat in it, like I did, there's nothing wrong with that. It is a far cry from Texas chili, but this stuff here is once you try it, you will not regret it. Honey badger. In this cold, let's not forget the furry and feathered creatures outside. We are their stewards and have thumbs to open our doors and hearts to them. Yes, that's certainly true too. So probably wouldn't be bad idea to at least put up some kind of a covered shelter for the birds or other critters if that's what you do. So yes, please be careful. I'm glad I have an electric blanket so that I can be sure that the cats will be warm during the day as well as at night over the next few days, and everybody else too. Uh, but the storm won't last forever. I mean, we'll get over it. hopefully we will go through. Hopefully everybody here will get through the storm unharmed. I mean, that's the best thing we can ask for. So yes, just be sure to be safe and be careful, everyone. Lowry's makes anything pop. Pickled jalapenos. I've never been a jalapeno person, I'm afraid. It's just me, but that's what can I say? That's my taste. Yeah, and it's very customizable. Exactly. If you don't like the type of chili that I made, make your own chili and make it the way you want. I like trying different things, and that's why I enjoy doing things like this. And that's really, I guess, about all we can say at this point. So, but I appreciate everybody as well, both for the delay at the beginning, as well as the fact that again, we all do have to keep safe over the next few days because, yeah, no chaos tonight. Well, cross our fingers. Who knows? Maybe because we've got Christmas coming and tonight is the solstice. But I am glad things have gone smoothly. Trouble, meanwhile, is over there sleeping in a chair. So, actually, if I were to give him some cheddar cheese, he would come running because there's two. Neither of these cats do like human food a lot. They turn their nose up at just about everything, with a couple of exceptions. Miss Mobley will nibble at bacon. Trouble, on the other hand, he what he really likes is raw meat. Whenever I break out ground beef or start preparing chicken or turkey, he comes right up and starts climbing up my legs demanding some. The other thing he likes is cheddar cheese. And so if he were awake he would certainly be asking for some of this cheese. The Windows update was the chaos. Yes, there is that. And thank you again for waiting for that. This year I try to steer away from meat a lot. Veggies give us more of what we need to stay well. And that's the other thing as well. Keep well, folks. It's really I think about all we could say. I mean, we're only at I mean, technically this has only been, like I said, about an hour and 6 minutes tonight. So I apologize if it seems short, but well, what can I say? It's like it is a work night, of course. And we do have to, as well, we do have to finish up our preparations for the big holiday this weekend. So I can only thank everybody as always for showing up, and rest assured though we will be doing this again next week, as well as hopefully I want may be able to get something done on the weekend as well if there's time for it. But above all else, keep safe, everybody. We've got this storm coming in, so make sure to batten down the hatches, and above all else, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. So everybody, you relax and have yourself a good evening, okay? Because we will see you not all next Wednesday. Merry Christmas. That's good.